Welcome to another edition of Insights. I have the pleasure today of being here with Javier Constante, former president of Dow Chemicals, Latin America. Javier, welcome.
Thank you, Guy. Thank you for the invitation. You know, it's great to be here with you. I never thought I was going to be doing this with you today, but life brings us together all the time.
It's such a coincidence. We couldn't miss the opportunity. I'm so happy about it. You know how much I admire you, and then knowing that you were here, I couldn't miss it. Javier, I did a video about you, and I was so proud to be able to talk about your story because it really impacted me. And when I met you and I saw how authentic you were about yourself at the workplace, with the position that you had, it really had an impact on me. And I was very happy to be able to put it on a video. So thank you very much for the opportunity and now to talk to you here.
You honor me. I think you're overdoing it, but it's fine. I think it's great to be here with you, Guy, today because we're going to talk about life. And not corporate life only, but what real life is, which is the combination of both.
Yes. And I had the first chance to talk about really the impact of being authentic at work and how it can help people feel better about themselves and with that produce better work, be more productive, be more creative, feel empowered. But we know, Javier, you and I, we come, from a time that we couldn't be out there from the very beginning. It was kind of a process on the don't ask, don't tell, and then you do good work. People will not ask you questions if the results are there until probably a moment that we have and we say, no, right now from this point, I'm going to be 100% myself and I need to inspire people. When was your moment?
Learning about the value of authenticity, Guy, it's a journey. It's a journey that you learn over your career. Because as you said, when I started in 1989 in Dow in Argentina. Don't make calculations about my age. I started when I was 8 years old, so that it's clear for everybody. But obviously at that time you needed just to behave correctly, dress the way the other colleagues were dressing, using the similar tie, going and watching the sports, making the comments about everything that was politically correct. Over time, you learn how to hide part of your personal life, which in the end of the day is an effort, because you need to dedicate at least 50% of your time, of your personal time, on planning how you're going to hide your real life to the rest of the people. But in this journey, as I told you, there was a moment when I had the opportunity of being a leader of a lot of important senior leaders, especially in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And that was the most important moment for me to value authenticity. Because I wanted people to be authentic and tell me the truth, even though I was the big boss. Otherwise, I couldn't do my job well. And there's a moment in my life when I thought, okay, I'm claiming to everybody that reports to me to be authentic, but I'm not authentic with them. Mm-hmm. I was using a wedding ring. I started to use it after I officially got married with my 36 years partner, Carlos, and nobody there asking me why I was using a ring. So wow. There was a meeting for my EMEA, Europe, Middle East, Africa team in the outskirts of Antwerp. And I told them, let's do an inclusion moment. And let me tell you about my ring. My office professional knew I was gay. And she started to say, oh my gosh, here it comes.
But it was a big meeting?
It was a big meeting with all the leaders. And it was funny because at a certain moment, probably I said, listen, guys, we're not perfect in life and we have our stories. And this is me, maybe not perfect. 1 week later, one of my sales director, Antonia, a Brit lady, she came to me and said, why did you say that you are not perfect? Because you're gay. So authenticity became more the mood of the team. But as I tell you, it's something that you learn. It's a journey for learning about it.
Yeah. But could you see changes in the way that the team behaved after that? Was there kind of a transformation process of really everybody trying to be more authentic because you were the role model opening the door for that to happen?
It was mutual, Guy.
Yeah.
It was the team and myself. Because at that moment, I could share with them more parts of my personal life, and they also could share with me more parts of their personal life.
Yes.
So when somebody wanted to have a baby and couldn't get pregnant, she shared it with me.
Yeah.
Or when another guy, sales director of Middle East based in Dubai, he said, Javier, my wife has so many gay friends that I go every Friday to gay bars. How come that she didn't share it with me before? So, you get to a moment that you think, why didn't I do it before? But the environment was not there.
Yes. And you probably feel when the right moment comes. I think the role models are critical, and the fact that we are doing this hopefully inspires more people to do it. In my case, I had one big meeting with Fred Smith, the founder, when the Supreme Court approved the gay marriage back in 2015. And he said things are changing, everybody needs to be on board. Those that are not, you better be on board, because this is the way the world works. And of course, this is Fred speaking, and I was there almost crying. I got back home, I told Enrique, hey, if this happens, we're getting married this year, which did happen. He was such a visionary. And from that point, I think it started to become easier. Probably the paper made it easier. Until at some point, Marilyn Blanco Reyes, I think you met her. She's Cuban. She was in charge of the...
Lovely person.
Lovely. And she was the first one who actually got on stage to talk about diversity to the group of directors, vice presidents, etc. And she said, I understand diversity. I'm a woman, I'm Latin, I'm gay. Because she was starting the diversity program. So it was quite a launch, that you go on stage and you talk like that. And it changes the environment, Javier, as you said. There was another one that will come and say, hey, my family this, and my son and my daughter. And you create more a sense of family.
Authenticity has a ripple effect.
Yeah.
The moment that you are authentic, most people dare being authentic, because it's a question of a little bit of courage. Also.
Yeah. And a better work environment.
In the end of the day, what you get is the best work environment where creativity flourishes and people are themselves. Obviously, let me give you a little bit of advice. You need to be authentic, but not push other people to be authentic. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Let each person become authentic at the right moment for them. Don't force them.
Right.
The right environment is going to foster this appearance of more authentic people.
Yes, you create the environment, but then you let the person take their own time to get there.
Don't force anybody.
Yes, absolutely. And I was talking to Katarini Haji last time. We were here, actually, and she talked a lot about mental health. She has lots of studies, and we were actually talking about how authenticity actually drives better mental health inside the companies, inside the work environment.
How many hours do we have to talk about it?
I don't know how much the director here will give us, but truly is first, because you have to be yourself, your persona, and when you're in peace with yourself, which is a process each one has to go through, right, on their own. And then second, the feeling of belonging. When you work somewhere that you feel that you're part of it, you have that family feeling, that you're not struggling to go to work, you're actually happy that you go, you see people that appreciate you, right? Has a huge impact on the mental health, all the way through the burnouts that everybody talks about these days.
And the physical health also.
Right.
Be careful. Mental health drives a lot of the physical health.
Mm-hmm.
So it all goes related. I can talk about myself. I had to dedicate a lot of time to protect my personal life of my corporate life. I had to sometimes to tell lies, or sometimes be in the meeting where they were talking about the absurd gay people on the beach in Barcelona. I would be able to tell it better in Spanish, but we'll leave it here in English, and it's like that.
We'll do another one in Spanish.
But it was very stressful. So in the end of the day, as I told you in the beginning, sometimes you need to dedicate a lot of your personal time to think how you protect your personal life. The moment that you can eliminate that, you have a lot of time either for yourself, for your mental health, and for avoiding the burnout.
Yeah.
I was telling you yesterday that I believe that when I was younger, we're not all the time connected. So people may say, oh, today people is more fragile, and that's the reason why they have mental burnout. It's not. It's the point that you're 100% of the time connected with your job, with your work. If your supervisor sends you an email over the weekend, you feel obliged to answer. Otherwise, you feel that you're not doing the right things for the company that you're working for. So for mental health and avoiding burnout, first of all, you need to be conscious, self-conscious of what you're doing. But then the environment you're working for is very important. And therefore, the leader's behavior are setting the tone for this.
Setting the tone for this. And I always say that it gets easier and easier, and you help me out here. I mean, when you start talking freely about your family, just the way everybody does about theirs, it changes the way people react. And for us saying it, it gets easier and easier. Because in the beginning, it does give us butterflies, right? The first time you have to say, no, I don't have a wife, I have a husband. Carlos, it does, right?
I'm coming out every day because every time I tell somebody, "Oh, how's your wife?" Even in social life, I don't have a wife. I have a husband, so I need to come out every day. But the more you do it, the more agile you become.
The easier it gets, right? The easier it gets. And I know it's hard, especially for those that are starting their careers, because they are aspiring, they want to belong. Being different is not necessarily very, very well accepted everywhere. And that's why I think this is an urge from leaders like ourselves to other leaders to give that chance, to open that door, to create an environment where people can be themselves. Not because it's the right thing to do for the person, but it's also the right thing to do for the company. You're going to see the results are coming from people that are really engaged.
Absolutely.
And they're not spending the time, as you said, to create stories about the girlfriend that doesn't exist or the trip that you never made, right? Or simply not saying anything because you can't even be part of the conversation.
I'm smiling because it reminds me of stories I told, but... Fair.
Right,
Fair.
I'm sure you have many ones, and today also we have all the personas, right, Javier? Because we have the social media, and so you have to create the persona at work, the persona for the friends, the persona on LinkedIn, the other one on social media. So the connectivity is there's so much pressure that that question about mental health, burnout, I think is more relevant now than ever.
Maybe some years ago, it was bad to say that you were in a burnout. Nowadays, I think it's more globally accepted, I believe. And it's better because you can help them better.
It was a side of weakness, right? It was,
and you never wanted to show that you were weak.
And you could never show that you were weak in a corporate, especially in the corporate environment. Right. And what do you think is happening with all of that when you put AI on top of?
First of all, I love using AI. It helps me a lot. But sometimes people tend to be afraid that they're going to lose the job because AI. I think it's going to reshape the way we work. I don't want to paraphrase anything that the big gurus of AI are saying, but I'm truly convinced that it's going to reshape the way we work. And yes, there may be some roles that are going to be eliminated. Now, don't try to find all your solutions in AI. That would be my first advice. AI is not perfect. We all know that. We all know that. Now I'm an external consultant. Sometimes I prepare my work proposals with AI. Sometimes not all the time. But I need to correct them because they never say exactly what I want to say. So there's a human approach to all this that are never going to be replaced. I have a nephew who's a musician, and he says that music now is created and played by AI. And he says, I'm a musician, I'm going to lose my job. No, you will never lose the human touch in everything that you do, even in music. So, because we were talking about corporate life, but this guy is a musician. And he says, am I going to lose my job? No, you're not going to lose the job, but you need to humanize part of it.
It will be different. It will be. I talked about it in one of my videos because I truly believe that the best results will come from a combination of the superpower human and the AI, right? So a lot of the work that is done today, yes, will go away. But those that will stay, they will require people that are way more prepared, way more trained, way more empowered, so that they can really get the most out of it. I mean, if you really want to amplify, you need to get the best of humans and the best of the technology put together. Because the focus is so much on the technology substituting people that I think we need to put the spot back on what we need to do with the people so that they get the best of the AI.
For many years, Guy, I told the people that were reporting to me that the best person to take care of your curriculum is yourself. Mm-hmm. And I was always looking at every year if I was adding an important line in my curriculum because I wanted to be the best professional, either for Dow or for any other company.
Right.
Because I wanted to stay with Dow because it was my best alternative, but not the only option that I had. And I always tell people, you need to look every year in your curriculum to check that you're adding a line. My new advice to the people that I've been talking to, because I still mentor a lot of people around the globe, is look if you have added enough lines of management of artificial intelligence in your curriculum today, because that's going to shape your opportunities for the future.
Right.
Keep doing what I told you to do. Keep adding important lines every single year. And if there's a year that you have not added anything, lost year, you need to recover the following year. But now do it with artificial intelligence. Yeah. Because the better you manage the artificial intelligence, the more capable you're going to be for the next opportunity. And that's a reality.
Truly. What I hear you say is that, first of all, the control of your career is yours. And don't let AI be your enemy. To the opposite, make it your...
You're the master.
You're the master.
You're the master of the artificial
You are the
intelligence.
master. I was giving some examples, Javier, because I worked a lot with call centers, right? And we saw happening with call centers. Most of the calls, they're handled by AI today. But many, many years ago, we already started answering calls with another types of automated solutions, right? But what happens is that first, the automated solutions, they will take the simplest calls. In our case, was the tracking calls. Now you put a number there and the computer will tell you the packages, right? What happens is that the calls that stay are the more complex, and they are more from people that really want to talk to a person. So first of all, technology cannot make it a sacrifice to get to a person, which today sometimes is. You have to go through so many options. And the worst thing is that when you finally get to a person, that person cannot do anything for you. It's the most frustrating thing. They will say, oh, go to the website. Oh, I am not empowered to do this. Oh, the system doesn't give me access, or whatever.
Another phrase that I always use to people, superior intelligence will control inferior intelligence. And artificial intelligence is not a superior intelligence. The superior intelligence is the human being intelligence that created artificial intelligence. So if you use this model for everything, when you deal with it, you will understand that you can master it and use it for your advantage.
How do you think that this stage of your life, I mean, on the learning something new, we always had a plan in corporate, right? As you said, control your career. This is where we want to be. I want to be the president. I started as an intern, so you started early as well. So we did a plan, we executed the plan, we improved every year, we got there. And now is a different moment. Now is a moment of a transition into something completely new that, is almost taking that story or that title and starting something new. How was that process for you?
Traumatic, as for everybody. I would like to talk to you again about two transitions that I had. Because I was based in Switzerland with being the commercial VP for Europe, Middle East, Africa, and therefore it was a very operational role. Very operational. I had to emails continuously. A plant is down. A customer is claiming in Dubai. I had a meeting in Johannesburg, or the German trial didn't go well. Then suddenly I moved to the president of Latin America and I became an executive. And it was a transition. The amount of emails that I was receiving was lower and nothing required an urgent reply from me. And a friend of mine who retired as the Chief Human Resource Officer of Inter-American Development Bank in New York, in Washington, she told me, Javier, if you cannot make the switch, you better book back in the career. But that's the life of an executive. You're going to bless here or there, and you're going to be key in solving certain problems, but not all the problems. So that was the first moment of slowing down. The second one came when I was close to retirement, and I thought that my job was giving me something that in the past I didn't have, which was a purpose. So finding a purpose and having a job with a purpose was very important to me. And when I retired, I tried to continue with the purpose. Yes, it's true. January 2nd, 2025, all the emails I was receiving were from American Airlines, Swiss Airlines, Marriott, and Shane, the Chinese train, because I was receiving no corporate, not important message anymore. And it's a shock when you wake up and you pick up the mobile phone, something that you shouldn't do, but I do. And you look for the emails that there's nothing important there. But then you start rewiring yourself in the direction of doing things that gives you purpose. And it took me a while. I'm not going to say that it didn't happen. It took me like 3 or 4 months. But then I realized that I could help people, either in the corporate career or in the management area. So I'm dedicating my life in both of these.
I think that's the key. Honestly, that's the key. The willingness to do more purposeful work. And I just heard that from Michelle Earhart that I had the chance to also have a conversation with. And it was amazing because I relate to it completely. When I went back to Memphis, when I left Brazil and went back to Memphis, I was not doing something that was my passion, and I wanted to do more purposeful work. I didn't know at the time what it was, but it facilitated the transition at that point for me. It really did. And FedEx was very generous, so it was incredible. And the process of putting the videos out, which I did for the mentors and then few stories, was almost like a catharsis of that transformation, right? It was organic. It just started to happen. And I realized that I really liked doing it. Like, oh, I have fun doing it. I like the contact with people. I like the conversation. I think these stories, they can influence. If they can inspire, great. Then, I'm adding to the world, and it makes me happy. And then on top of it, I think you have to be more fearless than where we were many years ago, right? And then here we are.
And let's say what we really think.
And say what we really think.
In the right way.
Yes.
In the right way.
Which is something also we were talking about yesterday. When you are at a position in the corporate world, you don't necessarily have your voice all the time. You have the lawyers, you have the PR team, you are the voice of the company. You can't have a firm political position.
Publicly,
exactly. Kind of a feeling of freedom. Like, oh, I can really be myself and I can talk about what I want. Of course, I'm not hurting people. I'm not being disrespectful to anybody, but I can share my own opinions.
But it's true that it's a moment of freedom, and you need to be wise in the way you use that freedom.
I always played at the edge, I have to confess. Javier, I don't like to give advice to people. I know that you think the same way, but what would you say to others that are going through that process, that transition process of, I'm getting out of the corporate life, I'm finding my own new persona. What helped you through the process? What are the things that you would tell people, be aware?
A piece of advice is, before you retire, when you're going to retire. Before you retire, try to find the things that gives you purpose, that gives you fulfillment when you do it. And there's no one solution. I know people who are working on charity. I know people that they are only dedicated to golf. I thought about the fact of the inclusion in the whole scope of the world was something that was giving me purpose. Then over time, I thought that that's not enough. That's not enough. You need to give more to people. And I always like to give more to people. So I thought probably the networking for me is important. And that's the reason today I find a lot of purpose by coaching and mentoring for free. More than 30 people around the globe that keep talking to me. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I only charge them the coffee.
You keep talking about purpose. And I just remembered that on the conversation with Michelle, she asked me, what does success look like for you now? And I said, it's probably about the number of people that I can positively impact and help them with their lives, their careers, themselves. That's what success looks like right now at this time of my life. And
Can I break a paradigm before? I know we're getting to the end, but allow me to break a paradigm.
Please.
People are telling me, how come that you're going to do consulting to companies when this is the moment to enjoy life? And I look at them seriously and said, are you telling me that I didn't enjoy my life in all this year that I lived? I have bad news for you. I enjoyed my life every single moment.
There you go.
The only thing that is going to happen or is happening now is that I'm enjoying it in a different way. But I didn't suffer. So for all the people that think that they need to get to retirement age to enjoy life, I would say, why don't you do a reflection? This is because I'm not enjoying life now. Because if you're not doing it, accelerate your retirement.
Okay.
But if you're doing it, it's just a transition. It's not the moment that you're going to enjoy life.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain number of books that you can read. There's a certain number of movies in Netflix that you can watch.
Yes.
And there's a certain number of hours that you can do sports.
Right.
What you're going to do in the rest of the hours?
What do you enjoy? And you enjoy helping people and helping companies. That makes you happy,
That's it.
right? I like to talk to people. And I'm so
And
happy,
you do it well.
and I'm so happy to have the chance to have you here. It was we had the chance to live in the same street in São Paulo,
Go to the same restaurant.
go to the same restaurant, and very blessed. And that I had the opportunity to be with you here in São Paulo today. You live in Zurich. I'm living outside the city, going to Mexico, kind of all over the place. Thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation with me.
Thank you, Guy. It's an honor to be here with you. Thank
Appreciate
you so much.
it. And thank you guys for staying with us towards the end. I appreciate it. And stay tuned for the next episode of Insights. Thank you.